My name's Eugenia Lim. I was born here in Naarm in Melbourne. My practice is a bit motley, I would say. I work across public space, galleries. I make moving image work and film and sculpture and performance, so it's a bit of everything. The lab, which kind of has no name, we've never really settled on a name for it, which is kind of fascinating, but it began in 2021, so I guess the height of lockdown here, and it was set up a collaboration between now Creative Australia and PICA, and myself and Joel Bray were invited to be the artist facilitators back in 2021.
My name is Joel Bray. I was born on Eora country in Sydney. I am a choreographer by trade, so my background is as a dancer and a dance maker. My work is often really interested in gathering and how people come together to celebrate or to mourn or to make connection.
We did an international call out for artists based in Australia and also the sort of Asia Pacific region to come together and share practice, think about what it might mean to work across different cultural contexts and across mediums.
The choice of this group of artists was pretty easy to make. They were all artists of incredible rigour and talent and curiosity.
My name's Emma McManus. I was born in Canberra in the ACT. I work at the intersection of theatre, video and performance art. I am really interested in urban ecosystems, particularly wildlife who are living in those systems.
My name is Ranjana Dave. I grew up in Bombay. I trained as a dancer and as a writer. I trained in a classical dance form known as Odissi, which comes from Eastern India. I'm looking at how spoken language intersects with the body in societies across popular culture, performance and daily life.
Hello, my name is Ferial Afif. I'm from Bandung, Indonesia. I train in sculpture, visual art, but I also love to do a research.
My name is Natasha Tonte. I'm an artist based in Jakarta. I work with videos, performances. Sometimes I collaborate with choreographer.
My name is Tiana Baker. I work predominantly with video and installation and sculpture. A little bit of photography, a little bit of print as well, depending on how I'm feeling. So a lot of my work is about linguistics. And I'm really interested in notions of inheritance.
My name's Adia Sahato. I was born in Adelaide on Kaurna country. So in the past I may have led dance projects and collaborations with composers and musicians, and also seeing how we can push dance as an art form.
Kia ora, I'm Daily Rangi and I'm a Māori artist. I make everything from poetry to live performance art to writing and directing theatre. Occasionally I'll paint and make kind of sculptural art as well.
We're all going to meet up in Perth, in Boorloo, and then of course COVID hit. We pivoted to an online model, which was actually really beautiful.
The lab was a space where we would come together online roughly every 3 or 4 months and have an intensive, a check-in where we would share work and also just hold space for each other.
There are a lot of us were cut off from our ability to make art, cut off from income. The lab became this digital space that we're able to check in with each other and keep reconnecting over those couple of years.
Being able to meet each other online over the last few years has meant that we've gotten to know each other more gradually, share practice online, meet together, look specifically into other places and not just be in our house was a really special thing. I went on a walk through Bombay. I went, got to see into the homes of the other artists and really share some things in a time that was largely not very interesting.
We've been been chatting for a long time digitally, and then we met for the first time in real life. It felt a little bit like a Tinder date, maybe. And there was, just at the beginning, this like slight, oh, I know you, but I actually don't know you kind of awkwardness. That dissolved super quickly, and we just have spent the best part of a week together, yarning, talking about art, sharing practice with each other.
I started on this journey with quite an ambitious undertaking of what is referred to as cultural infrastructure, particularly artists in residence programs. We're right beside the Birrarung, or the Yarra River, and the Birrarung weaves its way through Gurumbi Barn Laughing Waters. We were getting all of the buildings into in-places control, getting long-term leases with the state government and restoring all of the buildings, and operating a rich and complex arts and cultural program for Australian and international artists, establishing it as a cultural precinct so that the cultural significance of this place and the contemporary artistic use and function of the place could be recognised. So in total, it's 5 buildings. One of them is a freestanding studio, which we're currently restoring. This has a legacy as an artist residency. So in the 90s, Morty Palmer, who was founding director of Heidi Museum of Modern Art and Tarrawarra Museum of Art, had artists scattered throughout these buildings the length of the river. And then the local council took on that program, ran it for a couple of years as a residency. It was quite low profile. And then the buildings had been disused for the past 8 years. So then In Place stepped in and decided to restore the buildings and revive the program. In 2018, I consulted personally with Senior Wurundjeri Elder Arnie Joy Murphy-Wandin, and then presented to the Wurundjeri Board of Elders or Board of Directors and proposed a partnership to dual manage Gurumbi Barn Laughing Waters as a residency and cultural precinct. A lot of the artists who are attracted to the infrastructure that we create are people who are obviously very value aligned but have a commitment to contributing to those places in really meaningful ways.
What's been important about the lab is really to have a space for experimentation, a space for play.
Being based in Laughing Waters in Gurumbi Barn was really, really special in terms of time and being out in nature together, sort of removed from the busyness of domestic life and the hustle and bustle of the city. For me, I had my first experience in being in a tent for such a long time. I hadn't done it for a long time, but also to sit with silence, I think was really special for us as individual artists to let that be part of our daily life just for a moment.
It was really centred around connection rather than productive output, which was really nice because we're living in a period where artists are getting squeezed left, right and centre. We're expected to have the same kind of creative output, but with less and less and less resources. So this was a really rare and timely opportunity for us to still be artists and be having the conversations, but not be frantically trying to pump out some art. It's been a really restorative experience for me.
We need to rest in order to function, somehow that we lack of in our everyday lives when everything is in a very fast pace.
It's very rare that to be asked to do something, to be asked to participate in something without an outcome. And that's been really special, actually. I think there's this real sense that no one's forcing anything and we're all just sort of enjoying the nebulousness of it and enjoying each other's company.
What the lab's taught me is that I don't have to spend too much time thinking about the future, that I can just kind of be present and engaged with what's around me, and then that'll be reflected in what I choose to make, instead of trying to force it,
A lot of my projects come out of slow observation and then eventually arriving at where I want to go with it.
It's not aiming to create something, but it is more about the process, doing the process and discussion together.
My instinct as a collaborator is to invite people to a meeting, and we sit down and we have an agenda and we put out, it's around a table and we pull out our notebooks. But actually that's not necessarily a particularly conducive atmosphere for creativity. And so there was something beautiful about going for walks and preparing food and eating food and sharing pots of tea together that felt really natural, felt really organic, felt much more culturally correct or relevant. They were the crux around which conversations and the art making happened.
What the lab has opened up is an introduction to different ways of considering time and space through the gallery, through the other artists that have been invited to be part of the lab.
Talking a lot about, what it means to come from different practices, different artistic practices, different cultural practices, different kind of art scenes.
What was interesting was particularly our peers who came from overseas. Their presence and their contribution to the conversation really encouraged us to not think in terms of those European academic or scholarly kind of ways.
And for me, I think sometimes you can get trapped in a bit of an echo chamber, as it were, within our own local communities. So to be able to understand the whys and the hows and the whats of what other people are doing is a really valuable opportunity.
I've been inspired when I come to Australia to see Indigenous movement and the terms of indigeneity outside Indonesia.
I think we do actually spend more time talking about the things that we're all curious about. Not even our practices, we spend a lot of time talking about birds, politics, ecologies, power structures, interfacing with institutions, not even just art institutions, but we all are agents who have to interface with power structures all the time. And most people in the group have to interface with a structure that wants to destroy them as well. And so we talk a lot about that.
I think the lab was originally called kind of an interdisciplinary lab, bringing different disciplines in together. But one of the artists in the lab, Daly Rangi, talks about a process of anti-disciplinary and this idea that rather than trying to confine something into a specific discipline, you kind of make sure you do what the work wants. So if the work wants to be in a story, in a narrative form, that's what you do. If the work wants to be expansive and visual and that's sort of what the work is asking for, you go that way and not be limited by saying, oh, I'm a visual artist or I'm a theatre artist, being able to kind of move between practices.
And for me, antidisciplinary is a great way to frame that whatever I make and whatever form it takes, I always think about what I'm trying to say and whether I'm even the right person to say it before I think about how I do it or the form that might take. So I try not to get caught in just one form or medium of work.
Other artists tends to working on one thing all the time, long year, which is also interesting to see. But for me, I cannot do one thing all year and then it bores me. And that's what I feel why I'm still doing art. Otherwise, I will just do other thing. For me, art is like a way of learning. We will learn about many things until we die, I think. That's what I see from the people as well, like older than me.
Art for me is always about pushing further, experimenting beyond what has been or what is known. I'm often making from a place of uncertainty and discomfort.
It's a way to pass on knowledge. Knowledge is storytelling, storytelling is survival, survival is knowledge.
Even as a so-called solo practitioner, I'm always working with others and my work is highly social. When I'm working in film or when I'm working in public space, I couldn't possibly make what I do without Yeah, I guess bringing others on board in a team, having a collective vision.
I make my work in the space between me and other people, other collaborators. That's really true for all of this group of artists.
You know, when you're working with other people, relationships, you can't kind of just jump straight into creating. You need to, you know, create time and space to be able to create those relationships.
So it's not like instant, you met and then you're just doing it, you know, like to make a collaboration deeper, getting to know, and then you feel comfortable into each other. I think it's really great.
As Joel and I got to know the artist more, we kind of wanted to get rid of this hierarchy of artist facilitator, or we were learning as much as the other artists were from us. So it made sense to kind of throw away that sort of distinction. So now I'm one of the artists in the group.
To be able to contribute to artistic practice and create a space of healing and a place that artists can feel just honoured and respected within and embedded in an environment such as this is an incredible thing to gift to artists in the cultural sector in Australia. There's quite rigorous and profound purpose behind that.
It's a way for each of us to maybe kind of see our practice in a different light and share what might be overlaps and synergies between our really, between quite diverse practices, but we've found a lot of commonality, and that's been, I think it's given us all a real sense of joy this week, actually seeing that happen in person.
Being together, we've been able to really get a sense of everyone's practice and been able to kind of future think and plan towards what we might actually want to create together.
One of the really big highlights, once again, is this introduction to Ranjana, now that dance artist who's based in Delhi. And we saw this opportunity to be introduced together to actually look at a framework for our own process outside of this lab. So I'm really excited about the prospects of continuing with Ranjana.
I feel like this was a great conclusion to the lab. It's somewhere, it roots that experience in embodiment, because we've shared time and space together over the past week. And moving on from here, we can imagine a collective future with that embodiment grounding us.
I think it's beautiful, and I'm really happy to have this experience, coming, talking, hang out. It's very Indonesian style, like we hang out a lot. It's going deeper into each other, and really nice.
Being with the other artists from different art forms, different practices, has just really sort of heightened this sensitivity. I think that's the crux of it,
I think there are some strong bonds in the group, especially that have been built over this period, that I feel really grateful for. And if we just can maintain those bonds, then I'm happy.
I think a lot of what came up in our conversations was that people are constantly surprised by what comes out of conversation and connection, and who knows what collaborations will happen between the lab in the future.
So I feel really thankful, and that PICA and Next Wave have wanted to invest in this and allow us to get to know each other